This case is known as one of the most convolutedly orchestrated and thought-provoking scams, the sheer scale of which the world has never seen before. The sale of a non-existent airport for $242 million. We'll delve into a captivating story, unraveling the intricate web of deception and exploring the aftermath of one of the biggest frauds in history, as well as its lasting impact on the world's financial landscape. Let us begin. The ringleader behind this crazy scam is Emmanuel Nwude. Details about his past, childhood, and upbringing are scarce, but it is presumed that he was born between the years 1950 and 1955, which means that, at the moment of the scheme, he was about 45 years old. He was raised in Anambra State, Nigeria, where, from an early childhood, his ambitions were beginning to sprout before everyone's eyes. Living in poverty, he quickly realized that money is his only ticket to freedom and power. Since that crucial moment, he tried to achieve his goal, no matter what. Being naturally highly intelligent for his age, he had no problem going through any educational challenges and always managed to achieve successful results. This was the beginning of him, already being recognized as an unordinary individual among all of his classmates at his age. His insatiable hunger for money and power led him to, as he considered it, the only path for the ultimate success, the world of finance. Over the years, he built a reputation as an elite businessman, engaging in legitimate transactions, while displaying unending confidence, charisma, and perseverance, as well as an extraordinary ability to find solutions to any financial challenges. He acquired considerable wealth and influence in the world of banking and finance. Eventually, he was chosen as the new director of the Union Bank of Nigeria. This wasn't enough. His unstoppable appetite for wealth, coupled with a sense of invincibility, caused him to want more. Emmanuel chose a new goal for himself, to obtain an amount of money that could provide him with almost limitless power, influence, and possibilities. Soon, he would devise a truly masterful plan that would engrave his name in the records of financial history forever. In the beginning of 1990s, Nigeria, as a country, was going through an industrial and political revolution. The country had just chosen Abuja as its new capital city. This course of actions would be the catalyst for the development of new economic strategies and ventures, to attract future investors and massively expand the landscape of the country's profits in the unstable international financial arena. The final focus was chosen to be on the construction of a world-class international airport. This information would instantly spark an idea inside Emmanuel's grandmaster mind, as if all the necessary parts were auspiciously brought together into one unifying, grandiose, and ingenious picture. This was the brilliant opportunity he was waiting for, all this time. What he would proceed to plan next would be the reason why he would be forever known as one of the most infamous con men in the world's history of finance. He decided that he would sell a fake airport to con investors out of millions. He resolved to collect a team of several hand-picked key players he would require in order to execute the plan and maintain a solid facade of credibility. So, he selected 5 individuals, all incredibly skillful and each bringing a unique set of expertise and knowledge to the table, as well as their broad net of connections, making the fraud of the century appear flawless and invincible. Each of them would impersonate high-profile officials with significant power. Once everyone was informed of their roles and minutiae of the operation, everything was ready to begin. Emmanuel and his accomplices meticulously planned their audacious scheme, leaving no stone unturned. They scrupulously studied vulnerabilities of their targets. Using their advanced knowledge and experience, they identified weaknesses in the system and crafted a strategy that would exploit it all entirely for their benefit. To execute the plan, the team carefully researched high-profile individuals who possessed both significant financial resources and a willingness to take risks. By targeting those who were eager to expand their business ventures into Africa, they created a sense of urgency and opportunity that proved irresistible to their victims. One of the key elements of the strategy was Emmanuel's ability to create an air of authenticity around the fake airport. Because he was already a director of a major bank network in Nigeria, he had an open access to various documents, forms, and contracts, which played a vital role in what would happen next. Through sending forged legal documents, investment proposals, expertly crafted agreements, and convincing presentations, he managed to fool even the most discerning ones. The attention to detail and professionalism exhibited by the team added credibility to their scheme, making it virtually impossible for anyone to realize that all of this was just an illusion. After sending fake proposals, they would only need to wait until the perfect victim is caught in their trap. For a short period of time, it seemed that no one was responding. But then, suddenly, they received a fax from a man known as Nelson Sakaguchi, a young director of a major Brazilian bank, Banco Noroeste. He displayed an extreme eagerness in the proposal, since he wanted to enrich himself and kickstart his career as a distinct and qualified professional. He was ready to take bold risks that could greatly boost his professional character as a successful businessman and leader. So he informed the team that the bank was looking for investment opportunities for quite some time and wanted to further participate in the discussion. As Emmanuel and the rest of the team read the message, smirks began to arise on their faces. They realized that the bait was successfully taken. Emmanuel promptly called Nelson back. He knew that he wouldn't be able to convince Nelson while presenting as just himself. So, according to the plan, he had previously decided to disguise himself as no else but the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the highest-ranking official in the country, Paul Ogwuma, to entice and assure Nelson with his tremendous power and authority, whose offer he wouldn't be able to resist. Since the scam was happening before the worldwide distribution of the internet, Nelson couldn't just simply look up and access the real personal details of the governor. These were the ideal circumstances for the full actualization of Emmanuel's plan. Using his sharp intellect, natural charisma, and the mastery of forging legal documents, he was starting to convince Nelson in the legitimacy of the deal and skillfully negotiated the terms, while masterfully manipulating him to extract as much as he could. To sustain the illusion, Emmanuel requested from Nelson that the deal had to be entirely confidential, and thus, they would need to meet somewhere outside of their representative countries in a neutral environment. Nelson proposed they meet in London. Emmanuel delightedly agreed. The team immediately began forming the final part of the scheme. Every detail had to be factored in flawlessly. Every action and move strategically calculated for the scam to come to its full actualization, without raising even a hint of suspicion or giving any cues for uncertainty. As previously mentioned, there were 5 members in the group beside Emmanuel. Each would assume identities of the most suitable official representatives in order to leave an impeccable impression on Nelson. Emmanuel would be the governor of the central bank. The rest of the team, deputy governor, director of aviation, official bank financial assistant, head of the Department of Investment Management, and business banking representative. The team expertly crafted every instrument they would require. Persuasive business strategy, including detailed Avia infrastructure plan, and of course, Emmanuel's specialty, first-rate forged documents to substantiate every statement that would be conveyed during the negotiation. When all the necessary arrangements were settled, the team was fully equipped to meet with Nelson in London. If you've enjoyed the video so far, consider liking and subscribing. It'll greatly support the channel. Also, if you have any recommendations or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you. Trust is the foundation of any successful scam. Emmanuel understood this all too well and set out to gain Sakaguchi's trust and further increase his credibility through impressive displays of wealth and connections. Upon arriving to London, the group ordered a VIP service for Nelson. First, they rented an extremely expensive vehicle that would pick up Nelson from the airport and then bring him to a fancy 5-star hotel where he would be provided with a deluxe royal suite. As a result, Nelson was psychologically inclined to trust Emmanuel and his team, since, as he perceived it, what he experienced was a proof of their financial literacy, prosperity, and wide range of influence. By the time of the meeting, each of the team's members introduced themselves, according to their set roles, while displaying charisma and confidence, which played a huge role in convincing Nelson. But, as Emmanuel expected, everything couldn't go smoothly forever. Emmanuel again mentioned his desire to keep the deal undisclosed, for the construction wouldn't begin for the next 4 to 5 years. But Nelson started to show signs of nervousness and uncertainty, saying that his bank would be more contented to exchange the money if they actually started the construction soon. Emmanuel, being a great manipulator who understands human nature quite well, quickly picked up on that and promptly began conveying his soothing and assuring argument for why Nelson should agree. He said that they would require the money as soon as possible, for the reason that they would need to start the construction planning, worker hiring, and supplies gathering right away, for the project to begin and get completed on time. As the ultimate tactic to win over Nelson, Emmanuel said that if he rejected the offer, that wouldn't be that big of a deal because they still had other investors waiting and ready to take his place. And, as a cherry on top, Emmanuel offered Nelson a $10 million commission if he dealt with the problem himself. Emmanuel's last words were the final ultimatum that won Nelson over. His desire to be special and significant, as well as get enriched, blinded him to any residual issues and pushed him to accept the offer. As they shook hands, the scam of the century, worth $242 million, reached its culmination. Today, this sum would have been equivalent to $415 million. Before adjourning the meeting, Emmanuel decided to use Nelson's solidified trust and uplifted emotional state to ask for a $3 million earnest as a probation of his commitment. Now, Nelson was on the hook, totally convinced that he was purchasing a legitimate airport. For the following 3 years, from 1995 to 1998, he would transfer Emmanuel and his team $242 million. The money handed over to Emmanuel disappeared into the depths of his deceitful web. He used multiple international bank accounts in order to distribute the money equally all over the world, preventing any suspicion. The members of the group, as intelligent as they were, weren't spending the money on luxurious accessories, cars, or any other mundane things. Instead, they invested it into real estate all over the globe and purchased shares from various multi-million companies worldwide. During this time, they would continue to forge documents, contracts, and other legal papers that would be sent to Nelson to retain the mirage. For the course of these years, the team would successfully be getting away with the fraud of the century. But soon, completely unexpectedly, their empire would begin to crumble. In 1997, Banco Santander, a Spanish multinational financial services company, moved to take over Banco Noroeste. During the joint discussions around the acquisition, a significant discrepancy came to light. A vast sum of money, which represented a third of the bank's value and liquid capital, was gone, and at first glance, completely tracelessly. This led to the formation of a multinational criminal investigation team uniting authorities from Brazil, Britain, Nigeria, Switzerland, and the United States. They sifted through mountains of financial records, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together the intricate puzzle of Emmanuel's deceitful empire. It was a race against time to uncover the truth and prevent any further damage. Nigeria ultimately established the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to arrest Emmanuel. Nelson Sakaguchi, on the other hand, was arrested at New York's John Kennedy Airport and subsequently transported to Switzerland for trial. However, amid all this, as damage control, the legal officials who own the Banco Noroeste paid off $242 million gap to try to cover up and stop the process of their expose. But the bank's fate was sealed, as it eventually collapsed in 2001. After a long legal process, one of Emmanuel's accomplices confessed to the crime and received a prison sentence of 2.5 years, along with an order to repay $25.5 million. In 2004, Emmanuel and the rest of the team were arrested by the commission and charged with 86 counts, ranging from bribery and fraudulently seeking advance fee at the Abuja High Court. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges after testimony from Sakaguchi. However, the judge reported that there was an attempt to bribe court staff, which was recorded on a secret camera in the building. So, the court proceeding had to be relocated to a new place. Eventually, he collectively received prison sentence totaling 25 years, The Guardian reported. His assets were also confiscated and returned to the victims. The details, according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, thorough searches were conducted at their various premises in the course of which several exotic vehicles, documents of several estates, and other investments were recovered. Analyses of the call logs of known associates of the suspects gave good leads to their hideout locations. All counterfeit documents given to the victim, originating from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Ministry of Aviation, between 1995 and 1998, in furtherance of the scam, were authenticated and found to be forged. All corporate and personal accounts of the suspects in Nigeria, with shares and other investments, were frozen. Their properties were also seized. All were later disposed of after the judgment to pay the fines imposed and settle the $120 million restitution to Banco Noroeste of Brazil. Following Emmanuel's conviction, efforts were made to recover the funds that were swindled from Sakaguchi. While some money was successfully traced and returned, a significant portion remained elusive, lost in a labyrinth of illegal channels. The case served as a sobering reminder that undoing the damage caused by fraud is a complex and challenging task. The Emmanuel's case became a pivotal moment for authorities and financial institutions worldwide. It highlighted the need for stricter regulations, enhanced due diligence, and improved fraud prevention measures. The incident led to a collective effort to fortify systems against similar scams, empowering individuals and organizations to identify and report suspicious activities more effectively. It also shed light on the importance of international cooperation in combating financial crimes. The case prompted discussions among nations regarding the need for enhanced collaboration, information sharing, and extradition processes to tackle fraudsters operating across the world. Thank you for watching, and see you in the future episodes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified about new episodes.